But yeah, country isn't the same. And I worked country till the early '80s, and the country people were just like the blues people. They're very accessible. I mean, if you wanted to interview whoever in country, all you had to do was call up and you could get them. Now, it's harder to get. It's probably easier to get to the president than it is to some of these other country artists, And it's not the country artists themselves. A lot of times it's the people that are surrounding them that are the ones that make it hard for you to get access to them. But I had.
The traditional kind of country. Richard Lynch is another gentleman that I've interviewed. Matter of fact, Richard, just talk about stories. I got to interview him live at the Lincoln Center last year. He was at the Independent Music Awards, and he was on my show live in the lobby.
Wow! Yeah,
isn't that cool to be able to put those things together? And I was like, Richard, would you? He's like, I would do that. That's rocking. And so those are very family and. Be able to go to Margie's house and welcome me, it's just, very amazing stuff. And they got a road down there.
I got to tell you, one of the worst lessons I ever learned, and I learned it the hard way. Never pass up an interview when someone says, "Hey, call me," or "Here it is." I kept this guy's phone number for years in my wallet.
Yeah,
because he was on the way he got done with his show. And I went backstage, introduced myself. He said, "I'd love to talk to you, but we've got to be somewhere." And I understood. This was like 1983 or so. And he said, "We got to be somewhere by tomorrow." He said, "Here's my home phone. Give me a call anytime." Mm-hmm. And by the time I got around to it, he passed away. And it was Roy Orbison.
Oh, yes.
So I kicked myself. I never, and that happened with me and Junior Wells. Junior, I got a hold of Junior's home phone number and from his old manager who lived in Florida. And I called Junior. He said, "Well, we're getting ready to leave for our Oriental tour tomorrow, and we're having sort of a last minute meeting about everything." He said, "Call me in about 6 weeks." Well, when he came back from the Orient, that's when he went into coma shortly after that and passed away. So those were my two that I really regret I didn't have an interview with.
Yeah, life's short.
But yeah, never pass them up. Never pass them up, Tom.
No, and it's just a blast and all the connections and all that. God bless.
Yes.
I'll tell you what. Go ahead.
I'll give you one more thing. We talk about that, and with any of the blues people, you can meet someone that you've never met before in blues and start talking to them. Within 5 minutes, you both know some of the same people.
Yes.
I mean, that happens all the time. You go, "Yeah, I knew him. I worked with him. I knew him. I did this with him. I toured with him. I did MC the show with him." And it doesn't take 5 minutes and you have something in common. That's what blues is all about, commonality.
And so many of the blues artists I've talked to is everybody, what is the blues is life. See, we're bringing out the life. We're telling you the stories which are coming from our palette, should I say. Lori Borvan, I interviewed her, and she's like, "Tom, it's just an open palette. We just different salad, different flavors, different grooves." And I love, like, Dave Keller brings in the horns. And that's something new. I'm always thinking the blues is just that one thing. But no.
Dave Keller, let me tell you, Dave Keller has got some blue-eyed soul. I remember when Dave Keller first started out, and I always tell Dave, and we were talking about it this last year in Memphis, I am such a follower of Dave Keller because let me tell you, when Dave Keller first started, I remember the first time he appeared at Rum Boogie, he was sweating bullets because he had never been up performing like that in front of all his peers on some of the biggest nights in Memphis. But he stuck true to what he did. He didn't go out of his way to do something that he didn't feel comfortable with. He's always been a blue-eyed soul guy, and he pulls it off. And he has stayed true to that because that's what he believed in. I've always admired him for that. He knows that. He knows I was there from the beginning, and we always talk about it. But that's always the thing I thought about when I think about Dave Keller is that he's remained true to what he wants to do, not what he thinks the people want to do. And it was so. Here's a moment, Dave Keller moment. It was about 2:30 in the morning after the BMAs this year, and they sort of chased us out of the bar area. He said, "The bar is closed. You can go sit in the lobby." Well, all of a sudden we hear this guitar music or whatever coming out from one of the entrances back of the hotel. and it was Ronnie Earl, Kirk Fletcher, not Terry O'Dobbie, Kern Pratt, Dee Miller. I'm trying to think of who else was back there, and they're just singing. They had a little amp set up. The only things on amp was the bass guitar and the guitar. Ronnie Earl was on guitar, and Dave Keller was also back there. And he started singing, and they were all singing a cappella almost, no mics, just singing in the entranceway, and the echo was like singing in your bathroom. The acoustics were great, But Dave pulled off some great, phenomenal acoustic a cappella type stuff. It was fantastic. It was one of those moments that you're going to treasure. That's the kind of stuff I like.
And he brings it on the current release that he has now, because the tunes that I play, I lead a lot of my shows with certain artists I dig at the time when I first hear them, and Every Soul's a Star. That and so many of those tunes are real positive energy kind of stuff. And I would pass that on to him. Right. Because, matter of fact, I've just pulled that one up. Matter of fact, I think we're going to end the show with that, because I think that's one when I have other people I'll go to and talk to them, or an artist, lead off, go, here's a tune for you I want to play. Every soul's a star, should I say. And that's what I think this is what music, all this is all about in life.
Yeah, Dave is a fantastic guy. He's come a long way in the years that I've known him. And, that album was nominated for Soul Album of the Year. And Dave was up for, I think, Soul Artist of the Year. Him and Johnny Rawls won it, but Dave was right in there. So he has earned every bit of the recognition he's getting. And that's a great CD. It really is.
Yeah, it brings that horn section up there. And that's the other thing. I love that 70s sound there. Who made that sound of the times of that 70s? Another question of music. You know what I mean? There's always that kind of, I don't know, Tijuana Brass or Herb Albert. There's always us horns back then. Do you know what I kind of mean? Yeah. How they produced? Is that the Wall of Sound or something like that? Or I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking back to
the Wall of Sound. That was Phil Spector had the Wall of Sound. Yeah, and there were various studio groups. The Stax had the horns. Yeah. The Muscle Shoals had the Muscle Shoals horn section. Those probably were the two most recognizable horn sections. Muscle Shoals had some great horn players with them. And that was just fantastic. Yeah, I love horns. And it always amazes me. We were talking about that. Producers are a special breed. They'll sit there and say, I think we need to add horns to this. Well, heck, how do they know how it sounds? They've already got it in their head, And I go, and after you hear it, you go, dang, that needed to be added. That really adds a lot to the song. So, you got to give credit to those producers. They know what's supposed to be in there and what's not supposed to be in there. But yeah, that's a great horn section. The Muscle Shoals horns, they do a great job on a lot of stuff they were on.
Yeah, going back to the era, the Rolling Stones have that horns they bring. Yeah. And my group, The Who, the one I love to jam, the 515 Quadrophenia, when Townsend brought that whole horn. Entwistle, actually, I think, led that whole charge in the horns. But, yeah, that brings a whole different light, and that's what I was meaning, Dave.
Oh, yeah, it does. Yeah,
it brings a great to music.
I love it.
So, thanks, buddy. We've been yapping for 53 minutes. Awesome, buddy.
No problem. Whenever you want to talk, people will tell you. When Sandy and I talk, there's no such thing as a 10-minute conversation. When Christine Battaglia, a great songwriter, her and I talk, or even Hurricane Ruth, I think yesterday we talked for about a half hour. We can talk, and oh my gosh, Yeah, I just love talking it. So anytime you need some space filled, Tom, just call me up and, hey, we'll get it done, and I'll keep listening. And I'm enjoying the program. I've popped in. I've listened to the Brandon Santini, and I listened to Bridget, so I just pop over there and listen to that stuff.
Oh, thank you, sir.
That's a great job.
Blessed to have you come on my network, and I can learn and grow and everything, and keep the music karma. I kind of feel like the Pied Piper, should I say? That's what I feel like.
Yep,
just keep the charge,
and like say, you need to get a hold of anybody. Just holler at me. If I can't get a hold of them, I know somebody that can.
God bless you, sir.
I'll help you in any way I can.
You're the best. You're the best.
Got to pass that torch on.
God bless. Thank you. Gil Anthony again.
Okay.
Blues Power, my fabulous guest on the Hoomagoo. And with that, every soul's a star. Dave Keller. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Scrublands, Central Washington. There's a woman with a guitar, oh, and a little one. Only 35. Feels like her dream has died, but she sang us her song. We sang along. Every soul's a star. Deep inside we know it's true. Just be who you are. It's all you got to do. I met Harold on the street one cold December day. He'd been living in a tent out by the highway. Tired and sore, thought this world held so much more. Down in Boston, he's got a daughter. Yeah, he's still a proud father. Every soul's a star. Inside we know it's true. Just be who you are. It's all you got to do. Oh, sometime late at night, when the time is right, if you listen at the sky, inside we know it's true. Just be who you are. That's all you got to do. Every soul star, every single soul, every soul star, every single soul. Just be who you are.
Hoomagoo, you done it again.